walking side by side, highs and lows. Got nothing to hide, love's a journey. So we state the facts, making this eternity. Let's talk about love, the good and tough. Through all the ups and downs, we're strong enough. Marriage is work, but it's worth the fight. Let's dive into my life, shining those lights.
Good evening, good afternoon. Thank you, family and friends.
Hello, everyone.
Everybody out in the social world.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Another night of love and marriage on our podcast. We have a beautiful couple tonight with us. Somebody I've been following, us low-key stalking them, right? Basically, because they didn't know I was following them. But this young couple is very inspiring. And if I had to ever had an example of what young marriage looks like intentionally, I am choosing them all day long because they truly bless my heart when I see them, go live with their podcast, with their conversation. It is just a beautiful gel. But we'll introduce you to them in a few more minutes. I am Eric Green, and
I am his better half, Kathy Ann Green.
Okay, we're gonna go with God's word on that. Yes, she is. She is my better half because if I find a wife, I find a good thing, right? So you're my better half.
Yeah, you did.
And wait, let me give a little gospel thing, right? So check this out, y'all. So God took
I know where you're going.
something out of me, turned around, and gave it back to me, and said, "Love it like it was yourself." That's my baby right there.
That's right.
I love her like it was myself.
I'm glad this is recorded. Next time I fuss with you, remember you say that on this podcast.
On the podcast. But anyhow, guys, thank you so much for joining in. We appreciate you so much. Listen, we're only trying our best to do kingdom living, kingdom growing, and making sure that we're pouring back into marriages because that's what we have a vein for, a passion for, and we try to bring people onto the podcast that can plant seeds that will allow the Holy Spirit to water it and other folks come along and God grow it, right? That's what we're looking to do.
Absolutely.
Increase, yes. So, but also in the meantime, we would like to introduce you to our...
Oh, From Pain to Purpose. I wasn't ready. So we wrote a book, guys. We launched, we published the book on Valentine's Day. Perfect day for this.
Yes, it was.
It's called From Pain to Purpose.
I like that, bro.
From Pain to Purpose.
Hold on, let me roast you back.
No, don't do that. From Pain to Purpose. It talks about love and marriage. It talks about our life. It talks about everything about Eric and Kathy. Get the book. It's on Amazon. If you want a signed copy, go to www.green with an E at the end, house, our last name, greenhouselove.com if you want a signed copy as well.
Right. And if you can't get the Greenhouse Loves because there's some problem with the URL, just go to Amazon because it's on Amazon. God opened that door and we thank him for it. Right?
Yeah.
So without further ado, we would love to introduce to you this, as I was sharing with my wife, this couple is just phenomenal. And I don't want to gas them up or anything. I'm just speaking from my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, anyhow.
He talked about them for days.
Let me get it on. Y'all, I would like to introduce you to George and Chrissy McPherson. And they are our guests for tonight. Y'all give it up for George and Chrissy. Thank y'all.
Thank you guys.
I know he loves y'all because he talks about y'all. You hear me?
Yes, I do. I went to my wife and I said, babes, I really want to get this young couple on.
He did.
Because they just have something to offer to, the kingdom. Mm-hmm. They have something to offer. George, Chrissy.
Yes, thank
welcome.
you. Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Their smiles is just incredible. Y'all kids, man. Y'all got babies like our babies, and we didn't even have babies.
Listen, life is short. You got to enjoy it. You got to smile. Right?
That's it.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
That's
so
it.
Let me start off with the question I've always wanted to ask you guys, but because I couldn't say anything because I was low-key stalking, right? How did you two meet?
Oh, well, we met in college, right? We both went to USF. And we met in college. And so just a quick backstory, we were having a conversation. Let's say we're having a debate, right? And we were part of a Caribbean club. And I was in the back and you were in the front? However, no, I was in the front.
You was in the front, I was in the back.
And we were talking about DNA testing your kids and things of that nature. And so he was just very passionate about it. We were going back and forth on this topic.
We were.
He invited me to come watch him play soccer.
And then that was it.
Yeah, and we've been
So
together.
is soccer football, you call it?
Football, yes.
Football.
Okay.
That's what the Islanders call it.
Yes.
Yes.
You
Y'all,
don't.
y'all
Yeah.
stole our football name.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
See, they have me saying soccer now. You know, it's, after you for a while,
Don't do
now
it.
they have me,
Don't
they have me
do
saying
it.
soccer.
Stick
Don't
with
do
your
it, right?
roots.
Every
Stick with your
time I
roots.
talk to like somebody from the islands, I always say football, but then it's like, you know.
Converted him over.
Oh, okay, go ahead, continue. Let's go.
So yeah, we met. He told me to come watch him play soccer. I never came.
She didn't show up.
Back and forth.
She
And
didn't
then we
show up.
just honestly one day we just clicked. We just said, you know what? Oh, we went to a school
Cece.
a party at
Mhm.
school. And so at that particular time, he's like, are you coming with me? Or are you going with somebody else?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Georgie.
I'm coming with you.
George
And the
said,
day
let's
I
get
said,
to the chase.
yes, the
Yeah.
day I said I'm coming with you, we've been to the hip ever since.
Yeah.
Ever since.
No
So we've been
kidding.
together all these years.
Yeah. So we've been together.
Yeah.
17 years.
Yeah, we've been together 17 years. Yes,
Nice.
Wow.
7 years married.
Very similar to Dante and Alicia's story.
Mhm.
Met in the school atmosphere.
Yeah.
And here they are years later with children, with a child.
With a
right?
child. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
our oldest daughter.
Yeah. So that's how you guys came together now. So
Yeah.
now the question that I got to ask you, because now I have a 23-year-old daughter
Mhm.
who is just now dating, right?
Yes.
And I want her to understand what it looks like when you see someone or introduced to someone that you feel could be your possible potential. How did you two conclude to that in your heart that she's the one for me or he's the one for me?
Yeah, because I'm not ready for it.
Yeah. I want to know, how did you in the world?
So
No, I'm just kidding.
So I remember one of like I wasn't the best at what I was doing back then, right? And I saw something in her, and I remember we having this party, right? She had her family come together. Trini always having parties.
That's right.
So they always having parties. So she had a party
Graduation.
and her graduation weekend.
Graduation.
So we went over there and they asked me, well, you know, hey, you know, you gotta say something. And I remember I stand up in front of her family and say, listen, you know what? Out of everything is like she motivate me to be better. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, from then, it's like that was the point where I'm like, all right, she's different. And I wanted to work it. I wanted to try. We didn't know at the time, but you know, because you know, marriage
You were
is
young.
marriage, you have ups and downs.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
but you know, when that happened and I saw how she moved, she wasn't like small minded. She thought about the future, right? And me at that point, I wasn't thinking far ahead. So with that, she helped me to look certain places, and one of the words she normally used was exposure, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And sometimes you need somebody to expose you to a new life.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Right? To a new
Beautiful.
environment. So with that, I felt like she exposed me to certain things, and then for me to be better and become better. And that way, it's like, all right, this is the one. And I used to walk around and tell my friends, I'm like, yo, she's different, you know. So I was excited. I was excited about her.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm like, yeah, I think this is it.
Because I was going to move. When we graduated, I was coming to Atlanta. And I was going to leave school. I was coming straight here, and I stayed for love, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for me to make that sacrifice and stay because of him, I knew that I wanted to do it with him. I wanted to try.
Wow.
Both were in previous relationships that crumbled, and we met each other like right after that. And so I'm like, okay, if we're gonna do this, let's do this.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
love
entry.
it. Yeah.
That's a beautiful entry. And for what, as a matter of fact, how old were you guys when this all took place?
Oh man, I was when I first met you, I think I was like 20.
You was 21. You just turned 21.
But when I
just
first
had
met you,
your
I was
birthday.
20. But my birthday, I was like 21.
Yeah. And I
And
was
how old were you, George?
I was 21 because
Yeah,
I'm a year older than her, like couple months.
Yeah.
Couple of months.
We're
Yeah,
around that age,
So-
2021.
yeah. Oh
Time
wow.
when we first met.
And that's see the thing about meeting at that young age, and I've always shared with my kids is that you really don't know what you want,
Yeah.
right?
Very
But
true.
when something comes in your life that is so impactful,
Yeah.
right, it will make you make a decision that you didn't even think you were ready for. Yes,
Absolutely.
because women, young ladies, grow up to be women way before men do. First, they start off by playing house. You know what I mean? They got the little cook set where, you know what I mean? And they got the little broom, they sweep in the house and they running around the house telling people what to do. Women are growing as a
Wait,
young.
you talking about me?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you know we were cooking
Oh
from
yeah,
steak.
yeah.
No?
No, for real. Babes, when did you start cooking?
About 6 years old.
And that's what I'm saying. They were getting ready for marriage before we were out busting each other side the head, playing football, playing baseball, like cracking on each other, doing stupid things. We had no idea what marriage entailed. All we know is we chased tail.
It's
Yeah.
funny you said that.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, man.
It's like back then, for me, it was different. Like I said, I came from Jamaica. The whole concept of it was, when I met her, we just came out of 2 different relationships. And I said, listen, if I'm going to have a relationship with somebody, the next person I'm going to have a relationship with, I got to be better than my last relationship.
Yeah.
I cannot bring my bad habits into this relationship. Right. And I have to learn from that. So some of the things like trust wise, there are certain things that I'm saying that I'll never do. Right. And I always say, if you go looking for stuff, you will find stuff. That's one of the things I always say. So with that, before her, I used to like check phones and stuff like that. And then like with this, I'm like, I'm not checking no phone. I'm not going through, like, there has to be some type of trust.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that, I learned from my past relationships and a lot of prayer.
Yeah, for sure.
Still praying because we're just talking about before kids, right? Man, praying when I had kids. You know what I'm saying? like we're talking about the lovey-dovey stage. We're not talking about when the kids got involved. Right? When the kids got involved, it's a different type of prayer. It's a different type of thing. So some people see marriage and I love that they look at us and say, man, I want it, but marriage takes a lot of work. And some people, as soon as they hit a difficult spot, they just ready to like, yeah,
ready to bail out.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is not. I didn't come from that too, because my parents are still together, right?
Okay.
So my parents are still together, but I just know that I want it different, and I want to be a good example for my kids. I want to be there for my kids, all that stuff as well. So. And
I come from a 2-parent household, right? I came from, my parents aren't together. And honestly, I didn't have an example at all growing up of what a marriage looks like, from grandparents to parents to uncles to aunt, nobody, right? So I was a very broken home, I would say. But his parents were together. And I saw and I heard their stories of their ups and downs. And there's one thing 2 people told us on our wedding day. My aunt on my dad's side and his mom was basically, when you get married, keep your business to yourself.
Keep your family out of it.
Exactly. Because there are days where I don't like him, but I still love him. Right. And on those days where I don't like him, if I go running to my mom or my dad, they're going to pass judgment on him. Where it could just be that day he pissed me off. Right. And so they're going to build up resentment. And I did not want that in my marriage. But because I didn't see anything positive in a marriage, I told him, if we get married, it's to the end. Like I want somebody that's going to be serious because I want my children to not experience anything that I had growing up.
Right.
I wanted them to grow up in a 2-parent household that was loving and, affectionate and things of that nature. So George and I, we made a plan for our future. And that I think separates us from a lot of people is that we had our, what did we call it?
A cool off period.
No, our plan that we wrote up.
Oh yeah. We had that too.
Yeah. So we didn't have like a business plan. We had a
right.
plan.
Oh, nice.
And so we wrote up what we wanted in a marriage, what we wanted our marriage to be like, and how we wanted it to be centered. And so even on our vision board, we always put God at the top, and below that is our marriage.
Yes.
Right. And below our marriage, then comes our kids and everything else.
Yeah.
One of the things I have, which I think it works, but for me is I always envision, and we have on our vision board, happy marriage, right?
Yes.
You could have a marriage, but a happy, successful marriage.
Yeah.
And that's been on our vision board ever since we've been married. It's not coming off. It's staying till.
But I want to know, what's a happy, successful marriage? Because you just said that, George.
What is your vision?
What's your vision for a happy, successful marriage?
Well, the thing is, for me, it's being able to come home and still can laugh with my wife.
Bro.
I still can go out with my wife and look at her and say, man, I still have that feeling. I still have that love. I still have that butterfly for her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have no resentment against her. Right. And anything that we do, like if we have any kind of differences, which we will, tomorrow I have a difference. So we know that that's part of life. We know that not everything we're going to agree on, but we say, listen, anything that we have a problem with, we have a 24-hour cool off period. Within that 24 hours, we have to talk, right?
Okay.
24 hours. Afterwards, you have to come talk. You have to come say something, right? Because the longer you take to resolve something, the worse it gets. Your mind start thinking about other stuff. You start thinking about different things. What could have happened? And you start coming up with all. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things. People get in arguments, they slam the door, and there's no sense of yelling. The back and forth.
But we have rules to that, right? He's never called me out my name.
Oh, for sure.
Right? We have rules for our marriage. Like, we do not call each other out our names. The 24-hour period, that started from when I was in college because I had roommates. And they're still my best friends to this day. And we had 24 hours and you need to be on that couch. And so I brought that to my relationship with him. So when we implemented that, we continued that all these years.
Yeah.
But
I like that.
Yeah. Communication is key. If you cannot communicate, you're dead in the water.
Yeah. And a lot of people, sorry,
you're good.
But a lot of folks don't think organizing your marriage is important.
I like
Right?
that.
Marriage is a business.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, I don't care. I know people probably will come for me for that, but I do not care. A marriage is a business.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. Because you can take half of my stuff. half. I want to be the best business partner ever. You ain't taking half. No.
No, but you have to have things organized.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
I always relate it to a business because we're entrepreneurs and we think of business ideas and stuff like that. And you have to, for a successful business, for you to have a successful business, you have to have a business plan.
Yeah.
Right. You cannot go in blind because if you're not ready for certain things that happen, then you're gonna be dead in the water. You're not gonna be knowing what you're gonna do. Right. Versus, all right. If this happens, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Right.
We've been through some crazy stuff, and I know there's people that have been through worse, but we have our fair share of saying, all right, because of these experiences, our love have grown stronger. Right. God never intend to just give you something without testing you. Right?
Absolutely.
So I feel like we've went through the tests, we've went through trials. And I know that there's going to be other tests. I know that there's going to be other trials, but I'm ready for them when they come.
Right. Right. I think for me and Kat, one thing I had to kind of pour into her, right, was the fact that you're not okay. Here come my daughter. She's coming through the door, so I ignore her. But I had to. I'm 8 years older than you,
20.
girl. Don't be playing like that.
She's like 20. What you talking about?
You talking about you got a 40-year-old. I ain't got a 40-year-old.
So my thing with what I had to literally pour into Kathy, I'll use that term, was the fact that sometimes you have to agree quickly with the adversary. So if the situation is saying you did this, and the adversary has the opportunity to say, well, look what she did, or look what he did, or look, you know what I mean? You have to say, okay, yeah, she did it. Okay, let's get forward now. Let's talk about it. Let's move forward. Let's grow from it, right?
Yes.
Because in the testing period, for me, it is only God proving you qualified to be in the position that you are in. Anything that God blessed you with, you're going to be tested by it.
Yes.
Right. So at the end of the day, if you're able to maturely, spiritually maturely navigate through the issue, right, with your spouse, right, you can overcome quickly.
Yes.
So as you two said, instead of spending 48 hours, 72 hours, you got 24 hours to get it together.
Yeah.
24
So we
hours.
can have this conversation. Young folks don't know that.
I was gonna say that.
You
I was
understand?
just gonna say that.
Young folks will gravitate to their friends.
Yeah.
Well, what would my girl do? Or what will my boy do? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What you guys are saying is rich seed.
Yeah.
It is seed that will absolutely grow in a marriage if they're willing to listen, right? And
Correct.
that's why I say as I watch you guys, I go, nah, these two old people right here, they're not young.
No,
Them
say
boys-
seasoned.
No,
Seasoned.
no, them jokers been here before.
You know,
Y'all been here before.
Oh, say season. But I was gonna say to you, you talk about marriage as a business, right? And I have to agree because, when you think about entrepreneurs, we spend time working our business, cultivating our business, pruning our business. That's the same as a marriage. You
Yes.
got to spend time,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Eric and I, we do the date nights. I don't care
Yes.
if I'm upset with him, but we gonna go out on date. Like I said, he taking me out to dinner after this. He just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
But we do, and
She ain't lying.
sporadically. I ain't lying. No, you see, I'm dressed.
It's like,
I'm
dressed.
home. Look, when we end this, we gone.
Wait.
But we do, we do the date night. We go out and we laugh. We have
Yes.
fun. You see us here laugh. That's just us.
Yeah.
Do we have our moments where you're getting on my nerves? I'm getting on his nerve.
Yeah.
Give me my space. Let me just, us island folks, we need our space,
Yes.
right? Let me just think about it. Let me just breathe. But we don't go to bed
No.
as
Yes.
before.
Right. But bro, I'd be upstairs like, God, please send her upstairs, please. I'm
Because
lonely.
we can't sleep without each other being on the bed.
I'm lonely.
Yes, that's how I am too.
We can't. As much and look, and when I get upstairs, I'm on the east side, he on the west side, he better come over. I'm saying that to myself. You better hug me. No, got it.
Oh,
Listen,
exactly.
and knows my heart.
Wait. She'll stick a little toe on my toe, right?
I do that.
Don't play with me.
Coming from me to
Bring
say,
me or even hold his face.
yes,
But no,
it's gotta touch you a little bit.
bring your tail over. And I ain't moving because I'm stubborn. So I'm like, you better move over. But to your point, right? People get into arguments. As us before, when we were just married, I can go a whole week and don't talk.
Yeah.
And he would tell you, like, don't talk. And I had to learn because, you can hear the preacher voice in him. What would God do? What would God say? And I'm like, I don't want to hear about that right now. But again, growing together, learning together, and knowing each other.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I had to think about, why did I get married?
Yes.
Right? I love this man. Shoot. I don't want anything to happen. And why am I mad at him? Wasting brain cells. So that's what really turned it around for me.
Yep. And
let's pray. Don't say nothing.
No, you like my money.
Well, we used to ask a lot of
Sometimes you just gotta be honest. Say it, go ahead, Chrissy.
No, I said we used to ask a lot of married couples, like, what's the secret? Because where we used to work previously, it was, mainly elderly people that was coming in, buying cars and things of that nature. So we used to always sit them down and say, man, how did you make it 40 years? How did you make it 20 years, back then?
Right.
And I'm like, they always told us. They always joke around and says, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Always do
Whatever
that.
she say, just
But
say yes, ma'am.
yes, but it was more communication and talking. One thing somebody had said to me that I never forget is, if you keep planning, you don't have time to think about a divorce. So plan for the next trip, plan for the parties, plan, just always do things.
That's it.
So we prioritize traveling, going places. Our kids, like, we just went to Grenada. They're like, can we come? We said, no, you're not coming. Right? And they were like, how dare you? I said, no, grandma. And grandma's gonna watch you. I said, because when you're grown and you're gone, it's just us. So we have to learn to get along and do things without you. So we get excited when we tell them, oh, we can't wait for y'all to go. We love you, but when we're older,
We say the same thing.
we don't want them to feel like they're the glue to our marriage.
Right.
We were here before you, and we're gonna be here after you.
Yeah.
I love that.
So that's just how we play around with the kids,
So what me and Kathy did is we had a week for the kids out of the country. Then we had a week for ourselves out of the country. Then we had a week for ourselves domestically, and then we had a week for the kids domestically. So everybody was getting the equal share. Now, the one thing I loved about what we did is we prepared them for when they were going to leave.
Yes.
You understand? So the way I see it is that if we don't prepare our children, we're going to want our children to stay. All right? And I don't want them to stay.
Yeah.
I want them to I want them to go and be great.
Yes.
Great. So I can walk around the house nude with my wife.
We do that too.
Hey, the Lord
say
said
that
I'm just saying. I hate to be graphic, but I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's turn the subject here. So most marriages have problems working through conflicts, right? That's just what it is. And sometimes those conflicts have to deal with the depths of finances, right? Finance can always make a woman become less attractive to her man. That's just what it is. Because a man is a survivor, and once he go into survivor mode, he don't even think about tomorrow. He just surviving, right? How do you guys work through those challenges when you're faced with, your issues like such?
Honestly, because we set that tone from the beginning, we always we will never let finances disrupt our marriage.
Sweet.
No matter where we are in life. Because you remember, we started out from the bottom. We didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, like my grandma used to say when we were in college, right? We were in college and we were broke. We didn't have anything.
So, one of the things when we first met, so my mom gave me a test. She's like, and this was one of them too. I forgot this one earlier, right? So
they test me.
So you want to test if that woman is for you, and she'll be there when you don't have nothing, right? See if she will sleep on the floor with you.
Because he didn't have a bed, he just moved into a place. He had just moved into an apartment.
I had just moved into an apartment. I had the money for the bed. I bought my bed. I had the whole thing, but I didn't put the mattress in yet. I had the mattress, stayed at the store, right? Yeah. And I invited her over. Sure enough, she was like, I didn't even ask her, right? I didn't even ask her. And when she was like, yeah, let's spread the blanket out and sleep on the floor, I'm like, oh.
That's it. That's the one.
I'm like, Mom. Mommy.
You call your mom and say, Mom, that's the one.
Yeah, so
she tested me.
So the thing is, for us is like, I always wanted somebody that I could grow with, and she always wanted the same, right? And we've been together when we didn't have nothing, right? So with that, it's like, we know that financial challenges are there, right? But we never make finances something that's going to be a big issue.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the main reasons for divorces, right? Because we before we got into that, we knew that we was like, yo, this is not gonna be the reason.
But again, in laying the foundation, there are people in relationships that I've seen from friends and so forth that will go max out credit cards, do all types of spending, hide it from their spouse. We do not do that.
We don't.
And as I don't really spend money like that anyway, right? Unless we're traveling or doing something.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go buy a 90-inch television or a vehicle without telling him.
Yeah, that's one thing we don't.
We
The
talk.
thing is, you know, like there's people. I've had friends that be like, why you have to ask or why you have to, I said, listen, I want to make sure that everything is communicated with me and my wife, right?
Yeah.
In a business, if you don't communicate with a manager, right? You have a manager and your manager messes up, it could cost you a lot of money. It could cost your business in some cases. So my thing is, I look at it as everything is being communicated. Any type of financial decisions that being made, we talk about it. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's a TV, if it's a couch, if it's
a kid's new shoe,
if it's a kid new shoes, it doesn't matter. We're making the decision together.
Yeah.
And that's how it is.
But we have like one pot. So it's not to say that we don't separate our finances.
So before when we first
said
met,
I do is when we
first met, I'm like, nah, man. Nah,
he wasn't sure about
that. Like the Caribbean people
Be
don't
like,
know
I gotta put this where?
Obviously, we don't want the right
Don't
hand, left hand know what the right hand doing.
That's all. Yep.
I'm like, grandma.
You know,
My great grandmother said it.
Right hand doing. But that's why we have so much problems when it comes to Caribbean relationships.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we have that, right? Because there's no real communication. There's no real trust if you're doing that, right? So when we first got together, I'm like, yo, at some point, I'm like, before I was married, I'm like, man, at some point, I'm gonna have to share the bank account. You know, and before she never knew how we were doing certain things, but the great thing about it is when we put it together is when we start growing more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
With everything.
Yeah. We always have a goal. That's him and I. We always have a goal. Even when we built our first home, we had a goal. So we're always saving. We're always doing things, and we've always learned to live within our means.
That's it.
Because being in the industry that we worked in, we've seen everything. Right. And then also we've seen our parents just as well. And we knew what we didn't want and so forth. So we know how to budget, stay within our means, not overspend, right? Because you're going to be up one minute and you could be down the next.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So always have to be prepared for those challenges. Now, when he talked about like exposure and stuff, you know, I come from two different worlds.
Yeah.
Where
sure does.
I have my dad, who is very well off, and then I live with my mom, which, you know, she makes, you know, she's doing what she could do. I would say, and so I got to see both sides, and I've always learned about finances very young. Right? My parents always taught me how to manage money. My dad never played about credit. He was on it. So I always had to learn how to do, because my parents always told me, I'm going to give you the world here, but once you leave, that's it. You got to figure this out on your own. You mess up, right? You are going to mess up. So I was always anal about, oh my gosh, you know, what's my credit? What's this? What's that? Because I want to be able to step in anywhere and be able to buy anything.
Yes, indeed.
Right?
When I first met her, and I wanted to buy a car. So her dad is.
My dad is a top.
He's a top salesperson in the car industry, and I went to him to buy the car. So he's like, you know, my credit score wasn't the best at the time. You know, like, you know,
he wasn't paying attention for that stuff in college.
Yeah, I was.
Right.
That's true.
Like, back in the days, it was just for me. It was just I'm just having fun. College, it was having fun. But that's why I say, when I got with her, the maturity levels start kicking in. Now I'm starting to think about credit. Now I'm like, no, credit was important, but now it's on a different level. Now, exposure-wise, when we're looking for a house, I'm my new beginnings was, you know, back in those days, I'm looking for like a $80,000 house type of stuff, you know?
Right.
And she was like, yo, who you? I'm like,
who you
you know, but I'm glad she did that.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't, because of that, like exposure wise, that's why when I met her dad and I saw certain things and I'm like, man, there was more out there, right? The small-minded thinking from me was now getting erased, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Thinking more
Yeah.
big. So you have to, I'll say, like, when you find that person, you have to be able to say, be open to new things.
Yes.
Also,
Yeah.
they have to be able to think and grow. You can't, if you're just one-minded and you're not willing to grow.
Mhm.
The goal.
Yeah.
It's not a business. Like, I'm always going to go back to that. What's the goal, right? Again, we come from two different worlds in a sense. And so my dad, I'm like, Dad, I really, really like this guy. I love him, but I don't know if he's the one for me because my dad has set the bar up here.
Right.
And so it was kind of like any guy that I've ever dated, they always felt like they weren't enough. Because it's like, oh, your dad probably just wants you to be with some doctor or lawyer or whatever. No, my dad just wants somebody to be ambitious. My dad started from nothing, right? And worked his way up. He just wanted you to be with somebody that was ambitious. He said, let me tell you something. George and I are cut from the same cloth. That's exactly what he told me. We're cut from the same cloth. We had the same beginnings. And he said, all you need to do is bring him to me. He just needs a little bit of exposure.
Oh my goodness, that's rich. That's good.
That was it. That's all he said.
Yeah.
All he needs is a little bit of exposure. Bring him to the house. Let him
Yeah.
come and see where I live. Let him come and see and be around.
And for some people, that's all they need. In some relationships, that right there is all they need.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
Exposure to something.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think for me, I'm always looking at women, especially for strong men like ourselves, right? I'm always looking at women as primers. They're good at priming something out of you, right? So, and now I'm going to tell my age, but when I was a kid in South Carolina, we had to pour water in the pump to get the water to come out, right? Women does that for good men that just don't have a direction yet, right? They will pour into you to pull what's out of you you didn't even realize was in you. Right? They pull that potential out. And when you realize it was always there, right? It's the most rewarding thing because that person loved you enough to get it out of you. Now the Bible makes sense when it says iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
You got it in you. You just didn't realize it was there. So God attached you to what he originally intended for your life through the wife he gave you, right? Because when me and Kathy got together, this girl expectation was like ridiculous, man. I'm like, yo, hold on. Bro, hold on. You talking about buying a rental property? Man, slow down. We just got married.
Gotta start.
But when we left
let's
Jersey,
go.
we owned 5 houses.
Yes.
We started out with just the one property that she had. And when she told me how much her mortgage was when we met each other and the amount of her property, I was like, hey, whoa, I gotta step my game. I gotta step my game up because what she was doing to me was what I always wanted.
Yeah.
I foreseen myself being in the place that we are in. I just never knew how I would get there.
Yeah.
And that's when God sent the person for me to take me where he saw for me to be, right?
And that's why it's important who you connect with.
Yeah, it is.
It's very important. People don't
Very.
realize
Yeah, baby.
sometimes you're just hanging out with somebody. You don't have time to be just hanging out. What is the goal? What are we doing? What do you
Yep, absolutely.
right? Do you
Absolutely.
want kids? What's your FICO score? Like, those are questions.
Come on, somebody. Come on.
Like,
Yes. What's
Yeah,
your
you
blood
guys
type?
even
Because
know
I
that
need to know if
chance
we're
if you ain't
related.
got no fight for
but these
it.
were questions that I was asking because I wasn't thinking about now. I was thinking about the future.
Yeah.
Right. And I knew where I was trying to go. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew where I was trying to go. But I wanted somebody that was going to be like, all right, you know what? You're right. Let's do this. Let's do this. Because coming from a previous relationship where they didn't have any goals or inspired, like, just,
Right.
you know, I didn't want that. I need somebody that could listen. I'm a big dreamer. So I need somebody that could dream just as big as me.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you could dream, it's possible. Anything is possible.
That's right.
And be able to dream together.
Hey,
Yeah.
Oh,
two people thinking the same thing. Hey, it's even better.
Yes.
And it makes it easier when both
Yes,
of you
sir.
are aligned. right? It makes
Correct.
it so much easier.
Yeah.
Like Eric said, he didn't want rental property. I'm like, no, I want rental property, right?
Yes.
And he said, okay, if that's what my wife want, we gonna do it together. And
Yeah.
we did that. So it takes both in a marriage to really work together to get to where you need to be. And I love hearing you guys say that because your story is so similar to
Yeah.
ours
And so
as well.
even with like our daughter and her husband, we're literally watching what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
They're in what year in marriage are they in? 3, 4,
About
3 or 4 years in marriage,
4
right?
years.
And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you guys sound exactly where they are right now. They got their mind
Yes.
focused. They're building their future, and they got things planned out. You know, it is the greatest feeling to have as parents, right? When you see your daughter linked up with the right person, or your son linked up with the right person, right?
Correct.
It's a great feeling. I'm so appreciative of this conversation.
Let me tell you something. When we met and we got married, and when you come together, both bills come together. And we sitting down at the table, and I looking at these bills like this: Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and I just go through the bill, like go through the bill, and I'm stressed, and he's just calm, and the one thing he said, we had just got married, and that's 18 years now. He said, "Why you worried?" And I'm here.
Yeah, them bills don't belong to you.
And I was like, wait, what? He's like, why are you worried? I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm the man. And from then, man, I worry.
Well, from then she went purchasing.
No, I don't. I don't want, because like you guys, we put our money together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? We put our finances
With a
together
purpose.
with a purpose that, he created this Excel. He has all the bills on it. He goes in, he makes the payment on the bills. He said, Kat, this is what we have left. Put this in the savings. This is what we have for the next. But we work together. And a lot of couples, they don't do that, right?
Can I
And
say something? Did you guys do marriage counseling beforehand?
Yes.
Or we did too. And I truly feel a
Yeah.
lot of
They're skipping
people our
steps.
age, they're skipping too many steps.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
feel
wait.
that is needed.
You're asking if did we do marriage counseling?
Before you got married, I'm not sure if you
No,
did.
no.
Oh,
I'll tell you that story, but
Well,
continue.
you guys were married before, so you kind of
Yeah,
understand. We were
right.
married before.
Yeah.
So we did premarital counseling, and that was like the best therapy, the free therapy you ever get.
Hey,
and the reason
things was said.
no, it's like, you have to understand both backgrounds.
Yes.
Regardless, he's Jamaican. I'm American with a Caribbean background. So regardless, it's still some differences.
Yes, ma'am.
For sure.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we don't come from the same world, so I had to learn. One of the things they always talk to us about is, well, in your household growing up, who did these items? Take out the trash, pay the bills, wash clothes, clean. Like you had to write out, did my mom, did my dad, on both of us. And then we came together and said, well, in our relationship, who's going to do these tasks?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
if you don't have who's going to do whose task, I'm going to expect him to be taking out the trash. He might be expecting me to take out the trash.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't take out trash. I'm just
I don't either. But
That one time.
those were things that we needed to work out. Who's going to pay the bills? How are they going to be done? And I feel like people just jump into marriage thinking like on TV. Like this is not TV. This is real life. This is your life. And these are steps that you need to know and to understand. And so for us, putting that down on paper before we even got married really helped. And back then, he was very secretive. Like he didn't talk about his family.
No.
He didn't want to talk about nothing. And I'm very open because I come from a household where we just talk about everything, right? And so until we got married, then he started letting me in more. And then I think once he let me in, he was good. Like
Beautiful thing.
Break that wall because there was trust.
Yeah.
I had to learn because of whatever may have happened in his past or so forth. I had to break down that wall so he could trust me. I'm not like everybody else.
Yeah. And that's for men too. What I was responding to when you first asked that question about counseling, I usually give counseling, right? When we got married, my failed marriage was my counseling. Everything that I did wrong, I admit to that wrong. So I was able to not bring that wrong into this.
Yes.
Right. And when a man is humble enough to say, yo, dog, slow down. You are not who you think you are. You're not qualified to say who you think you are. So learn who you should be.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to go back to God's original intent for what a husband should look like.
Yes.
So that means I had to erase some of my brother's ways, my older brother's ways, my uncle's ways, and all those people. I'll go like, what would so and so do? You know what I mean? And I had to figure out how would God handle it.
Yes.
And that became my counseling. So I was able to counsel my wife with grace.
Yeah.
Right, with grace, because she came from a failed marriage, and I didn't want her perception of the marriage, because I remember we had the first argument, and I'm like, yo, what are you talking about leaving? Bro, we just had an argument.
We gotta sign them papers. It was like 5 weeks in the marriage, sis. Sign them papers. I ain't doing this. And she was laughing while I'm like, no, sign the paper. I'm done. But
Where you going? And Chrissy, that Trini accent came out on me.
I bet it did.
I was like, slow down. You just cussed me. I know you did. I just didn't hear it. You said something about my mama, and I just didn't hear it. You feel me? So that counseling session is important.
Very.
For any marriage, it's important. Even if you are mature, doesn't mean the other person is in that place either. So it is best to get someone to pull out those things in you that you didn't know exist or didn't exist, right? That's good. That's good. So I have a question for you. Marriage is hard. You got 18 years, right?
Yes. Well, 12 years.
So
12 years.
17 years.
17
okay,
together.
all right, gotcha.
7.
How is it that, because I listen, I'd rather be with my wife at any place in the world than my boys. I'd rather be there. How and what do you do to maintain that intimacy?
Oh, well, first of all, George and I are together 24/7 anyway, right?
Nice.
But we give each other space when we are at home, because everybody needs their, alone time, right?
For
we have
sure.
something called Freedom Friday. That's what we call in our house. The kids, we got food, do whatever you want. Just don't catch this house on fire. He goes downstairs, he watches his movies, relax. I may go call my girlfriends, hang out. But we also do things outside of each other just as well. So I go out with my friends, he go out with his boys, you come home. But we love being together. One time somebody online was like, there's no way y'all could be that happy. Sorry.
I swear, it amazes me when people say that.
Yeah,
What?
The thing is,
We love being together.
I love date nights.
Yeah, that's our favorite.
I love date nights. Date nights,
man.
Get dressed up.
there's different date nights, right?
Right.
I'm gonna throw that out there. There's different right?
We understand.
Date nights where you get to like dress up. It's like extra.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I think y'all know what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
sir.
For sure.
All right, let me just go casual. You casually dress up. You throw on a jeans pants, but then you have the date nights.
Yeah, boy.
Right?
Yeah, boy.
And those date nights, you looking across the table and be like, man, that's my wife right there.
Hurry up and eat that dinner, baby.
That's my wife right there, you know?
I'm talking grown folks stuff.
What are you talking about? But I'm glad that I'm able to have that.
Yeah.
Even after like being together for so long, I'm glad I'm able to have that.
But
Yeah,
we
man.
also like talk to each other in that nice, sexy way, even when we're at home. Like you
Our
can't.
kids
Oh
can't
my God,
stand
they'd
it.
be like, "Oh my gosh, can you guys stop already?" We
But-
hear that all the time, right?
We don't hide. A lot of people will hide stuff from their kids and try not to be a certain way around their kids.
Mhm.
Who cares? Like,
He's gonna hug me, he's gonna kiss me, he's gonna
What?
hold me.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
without
Yes,
her, you
sir.
wouldn't have been here.
Yes.
Our kids tell us the
Wouldn't
same
have
thing.
existed.
Like, ew.
So for that, it's like, but I also want to teach them how to treat a woman.
Yeah,
I
man.
also wanna
Yeah,
make
man.
sure that they're a good example.
Yeah.
So that's why we always go back to. They'll never hear me call their mom out her name. Never,
Beautiful.
not one time. And I feel like you lose respect right there, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you tend to start losing respect for that person, or there's some issue going on right there.
Yeah.
So I will never do that. And
Right.
I tell my kids right now, I said, listen, if you ever call any woman out their name, you gonna answer to me.
Boy, what? That is my
Like, and also, this is one thing that I tell everybody, public, all that stuff. You know what I'm about to say too,
I don't.
right? Right? I will never put my hands on.
Oh no. Yeah.
Right.
And I'll never put my hand, like there's people out there, they'll get I'll never, that's why we always, if we're in a heated argument, walk away.
Yes.
No time for it. Just walk away. And there's gonna be, I'll tell anybody, there's gonna be heated arguments.
Yeah.
There's gonna be differences, right? And the yelling and screaming back and forth doesn't make any sense. That's why we listen. All right, we're gonna agree to disagree, but we will come back again. I'll tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
Like some men feel like they don't need to express their feelings.
Right.
That type of man. Call me sensitive. Call me whatever you want to call me.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you how I feel because I want you to tell me how you feel.
Right.
And with my kids, I tell my kids, listen, you have to express yourself, so I need to know how you feel.
Yeah.
Right. So we always make sure that we're respectful of each other. But when it comes to us, I mean, I'm always around.
But a lot of it is communication. We always just kind of speak that into existence. Like, I love being around you. I love, like, we say things all the time, but we also keep it spicy, and we keep it, you dress up for your man. I don't have a muumuu on all day, even though I'm in the house with him. I try to dress up and put myself together, smell good, do things to make him still want me. Right. So I try to keep myself together. I work out, we do certain things, but we just really enjoy being with each other.
Love it.
I'm not with him than anyone else anyway.
Right. I'm at 60, and I still love my boom shakalaka with my wife.
Yes.
I'm just going. Just going.
We're gonna edit this piece before we post it.
Listen, bro. I'm upstairs at 12:30. What time you coming to bed, bro? You thought I was sleeping. Nah, dog. Come on up these stairs. What you doing?
He's so serious too.
What you doing? No, because that's how much love I have for the person. You understand? I had that kind of love. And the intimacy don't have to do nothing, but come lay on my chest.
Yeah.
Just come hang out with me and lay down. Because I want that from you, right? And like I always try to do my best to express, if I don't get it from you, then I may have the opportunity to go somewhere I don't need to be, right? And I don't want to ever be faced with that, because no man or woman can say what they won't do, right? That's just life. But what I do is I kind of try to prepare myself or position myself that I never feel that way, right? Because there's no such thing as you can't. But I position myself to make sure I'm always in my house with my wife, always going out with my wife, always making sure the kids get tired of us, right? They really get tired of us. Right? Like, if you don't like it, you know you can move. You got 21-year license now. There's no mandate to stay here, right? But that's the beauty of love.
Marriage is work, and people don't realize marriage is work. And marriage is going back to, you spend time in your marriage. It's like a business. You spend time in your marriage and you pour into it, especially if, and I always think about, why did I get married? I know it's a show, but really, it's really, why did I get married? Even if I argue with him or disagree or if we have a noise, I always go back, and this wasn't always the case. I've learned this throughout the years. Right. Why did I get married? I still love this man. I don't like him right now. Go in the corner.
Whatever.
I don't like, but I love him. So I'm still cook and be like, baby, you ready to eat? And I'm share his food and take it for him. But I don't want to talk to you. Give me my space. I love him.
Those moments are the funniest moments ever, bro. Because I play on it. Right? I play on it. When she mad, I be like, hey, yo, you want me to make you a pancake?
Last week we had a disagreement.
You want a pancake?
Right?
And of course he wants one.
It was like 9:00 at night. We had a disagreement, right? And I'm not talking. I shut down because give me my peace. He come downstairs because he can't be upset by himself. He got to go. Right? Bitch, I'm hungry. I said, okay. Do you want a pancake? I'm like, sure. And inside I'm like, butterfly. Look, I'm butterfly. And he in the kitchen. It's 9:30, 10 o'clock, making that pancake. He gave it to me. I'm sitting here and I'm eating it. And I'm like, baby, this tastes good. He was like, oh, thank you. And he go upstairs. I was like,
I love it.
Whereas before, the old me in the beginning of our marriage, like, no, I don't want any.
And that was culture.
Shut down.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I had to learn how to, you got to change that way, because Why am I wasting time being away from him and we're in the same house?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
No.
It's
So,
crazy.
and that shifted.
Yeah. So let's jump to this question.
You have a lot of questions
Yeah,
today.
I know.
No, I love it.
Listen, I'm just loving having them on the list.
I can
No,
tell.
seriously,
And
I
I
We
love
have
know
the
you
having
all
them
heard
on
the
time.
the
preacher voice came out. I know you all heard that.
I was trying to stay away from the word as much as I can
Yeah.
because I just wanted to be relatable to any human being, right? But when it comes to each other's individual growth, right? Like, how do you manage to, like, Kathy loves, oh my God, this girl, she got to be Jamaican and Trini. Because she worked, you got to have like 14 side gigs outside of being a VP for the bank. Like, she just got work, right? How do y'all allow each other that space to grow in whatever your individual, career is?
That's good. Cause
So I would say first we have a vision board, right?
Mhm.
And on our vision board, he has the stuff that he wants to accomplish. I have the stuff that I want to accomplish, and then we
Sweet.
have what we want together,
Mhm.
right?
Nice.
And so he may come and say, babe, this is what I'm trying. First of all, I have never once told George no to anything,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Never. But he's never told me no
Never.
to anything either.
Mhm.
So like, okay, babe, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to accomplish. And I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to help you and I'm going to, get you started and whatnot. And he'll run with that. If I come up with something, he's going to be like, okay, he supports me. He's there with the camera behind the scenes, helping me.
Mhm.
And we support each other.
Right.
We're two different individuals with different goals, but we still have a common goal,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of support each other in wherever, because you got to remember, we met when we were 20,
Mm.
right? And so now we're pushing up there, I feel like. We're going to change, right?
Yeah.
And what I was doing back then, I'm not doing today, right?
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
We have to learn to adjust as the
Mhm.
time goes.
Mhm.
But
Right.
yeah, and then there's times where we feel like, wow, there's a lot going on our plate right now.
Mm. Mhm.
And if he sees me overwhelmed and stressed, he's gonna talk to me, and by the time he talks to me, I might be like, man, I didn't want to do this no more. So, but we're not gonna tell you don't do it,
Yes.
but I'm gonna weigh out the stuff with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
for us, it's always been. I know how dream crushers can be, right? So I will never want to be a dream crusher for my wife.
Yeah.
So with that, any idea that she come up with, I'll always support it and I'll follow up with questions, right?
Okay.
Why you want to do this? All right, I could see you do this. All right, bet, let's run with it. What do
Yeah.
you need from me?
Okay.
Right? And I'll never tell her, no, don't do something.
Right.
I never tell her that. I'll always say, hey, why you want to do it? All right, let's go. Let's do it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Let's do
Right.
something else.
Right.
But we never look at each other and say, no, you're not doing that, or you can't, or telling somebody they can't do something is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yo, you can't do that. Who you talking to?
Problems.
Who you talking to? Like who you at? Not telling me can't do nothing.
Listen, the whole Jamaican will come out real quick.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna sleep on a cold bed tonight.
so it's no type of things that, but there was times where we did hit growth spurts, right?
Yes.
Back when
We first
we
moved
were
here.
when
I feel
we
like we
first
had-
when we first moved here, right before we first moved here, I used to do something called George's Movement. And in that shift, I was doing motivational talks every morning, every Monday morning. And through that, growth happens because you're doing different things. Growth happens. Your mindset start to change. And she starts seeing certain things. And she's like, whoa. Hey, I see my husband. And this is where a lot of people start, instead of start criticizing, what they should do is actually go ahead and start improving as well.
Right.
She didn't say, listen, you think you're better than me. She saw that I was improving in certain ways. I never talked down to her or anything, but she's like, oh, I need to up my game. I need to start doing certain things as well.
There you go.
Right. I need to be able to keep up with my husband. We need to be on the same level. So, hey, if a lot of times we're doing, I know I'm jumping around, but we're doing 75 hard right now. we've always been in and out of the gym, right? But one of the things is we might be in a rut, and she'll look at me and be like, listen, you want to go to the gym? I said, no, I don't want to go to no gym. Then she started doing her gym stuff. Like, gym.
Yep.
Oh man, she's going to the gym. Let's go. You know, I'm in the gym now, you know. And those are the things. It's like you'll have growth, and for whoever is watching, future audience, your husband or your wife, they're gonna have some type of growth, and you might have that growth, right? And you have to realize that that person might not be ready yet, but they'll see you growing and want to with you, right? You can't say, oh, my wife doesn't want this, or my no, you're in that different mindset right now. You can't expect the person to be in the same mindset way. Yeah. So we've watched that over time. And when I see it, I know it right away. And I'm like, oh, time to go.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as I see it, because we're always together. So we encourage each other, right? Yeah. And the thing is, this is my business partner. Life, business, everything. Yeah. Everything, right?
Love it.
All that stuff, right? Business, but everything. So anything that happens is like we see it in each other.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing, man.
And we encourage each other. And I'm like, you know, I'll look at him and be like, you know what, babe? I see that you're doing something, and I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, he does.
Sometimes words can make a difference.
For sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
You don't have to. Sometimes people just sometimes your words, just your words, what you say out of your mouth, you speak life and death from your mouth. So when you're talking about life and death is in the power of your tongue, the words that you say to your spouse makes a difference.
Absolutely.
It could life into them, or it could bring them down. It could crush their dreams. It could crush their esteem. It could crush their confidence. So I'm always building my wife up, no matter what.
He's my hype man.
I will build my wife up. I'm not hype man.
And I think that's one of the most attractive things I see when I see y'all videos. Yeah. It is because it's me and Kathy. And I'm going, oh my God. Like, I'm literally watching young folks do what I'm doing, right? Like, and in the kind of way I feel cheated. Like, why I had to wait so late to get it? They doing it. But it is what it is. But I'm so grateful that I see you two exemplifying that every day in your life. That brings me to a question. You don't have to talk about it if you want to, but you have publicly made it known that you had a medical scare, right? Oh, a physical scare, right? And I've watched you and George. Yeah. And let me tell you something, y'all. I'm not gonna cry because I'm grown, and I still got the testosterone.
He's gonna get allergies in a minute. Just
allergies. I still got the testosterone in me. I ain't crying yet. I ain't buckling yet. But I've watched this man by your side go through you with your health. How was that? Because that definitely was a proving ground.
Wow. I can never not talk and not get teary-eyed about that situation. So just a little bit background, because a lot of people don't know. I battled lupus, and it took down my kidneys, which led me to dialysis. And I had to go through dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Friday, literally sit there with the machine connected to me and watch my blood leave my body. And I didn't look how I look today. I really went through everything. I lost my hair. I was 103 pounds. I was not the same person. And then my brother gave me his kidney. And so that gave me the second chance at life. And so George has been my right hand through it all. This is why I tell people, like, there's no way I'm not leaving this man for nothing. He was at my lowest.
There
was a time where I had 8 doctors, because I was also pregnant with our youngest when a lot of this started, happening. I wasn't on dialysis yet, but this is like the lupus going into that losing my kidney stage. 8 different doctors. We had to be running nonstop. He also had to do all the real estate stuff. He had to do everything himself. Everything himself.
Toro.
Because I could not handle this. I couldn't do it. I felt like I was kind of like withering away at that time. And so he loved me. I always tell people he loved me back to good health.
Jesus.
I like that.
Talk to me.
That man right there.
I'm telling you, that man right there.
Yes, sir.
His mom always tells me, he's like, "Oh, you got a good one." I said, "I sure did. Out of all your children, I'm happy that one I got." Because he never left my side. And his mom always said that, a lot of her friends call her and are like, "Man, your son is good." Because one, he could have left me, right? Because I know I wasn't easy to deal with at that time. Two, he could have cheated on me, right? He didn't do none of that. He went to every doctor's appointment. He held my hand. He loved me back. He took the stress off of life for me so I could recover. So yeah, I'm going to be here for him. I'm going to rock with him. I'm going to give him everything. And that's something that we don't hide at all. We always talk about the health situation because maybe it can help somebody else.
For sure.
Because
Absolutely.
people think finances can take you down. Let me tell you, health can take you down.
Yes. Yes.
That's why I think we don't fight about money because that's superficial.
Right.
You're gonna leave it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you see, when it comes to your life,
Yeah.
your health, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. They don't understand that part.
Right?
there.
So I told him, I said, if we can go through lupus, dialysis, kidney transplant, 2 children, we don't went through it all.
No.
Right. Like, where you going?
There's no leaving at this point.
Right. You ain't going nowhere.
But even though I might think it's hard, I feel like he had it harder.
So I always tell people, right, there's 2 different aspects of when people are going through stuff. She was going through a lot. So I had to be strong. There's times where I had to call my son in because like my son did something for her. So there's trigger points. Yeah. When I feel like I can't do enough, or I'm at the point where I feel like, all right, this is it. I can't do it. Like I had to call my son in, our oldest son, and I had to call him in and put him in front of her, right?
Okay.
There's certain things I had to do. There's times where she literally prepared me for her death.
Wow.
I did.
So,
I had to.
Mercy.
So there's things that we spoke about, and when she was doing her kidney, even before that. So I'll say this because there's people out there and they might think of, they want certain things out of life, right? And they'll set goals, and I'll say in law of attraction and all that stuff, right? But I'll say this: be careful what you ask for, and you have to be specific what you ask for, right? At the time when she was going through stuff, I was rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah.
So I was.
So don't really talk about this. I'll give him a minute. Okay.
Oh, you got allergies. I understand.
Yeah, allergies right now.
Allergies. That's all right. We all gonna have allergies in a minute. Give me about 2 more minutes.
So I was rocking and rolling, like things was happening, right? And one of the goals we had was I had $1 million check that was sitting in the ceiling. Like I was heavy in like reading books, and I was reading. I was getting up early in the morning. I was in my Bible. I was all that stuff. I was praying. I was doing all that stuff, and I was asking God, like, all right, this year I'm gonna make $1 million, right? And while we were going through everything, right, she's at her lowest point, and she's like, she's like preparing me. She's like, yo, I'm not gonna make it. I'm like, no, you ain't gonna talk like that. So then I have to remind myself. So one night, it's like I hear something saying, be careful what you ask for.
Wow.
Right. And she had a life insurance policy. That's exactly $1 million.
Oh, mercy.
And I'm like, I said, listen, I don't want it. I don't want no $1 million. Right. Because I wasn't specific on how I
right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So I said, God, if this is the reason, or this is how I'm going to get $1 million, I don't want it.
Beautiful.
Right. I don't want it. And things change. Right.
My God.
So you have to, people have to be careful and be specific in what they're asking for, because you don't know what can happen.
How? Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you're
Absolutely.
asking for something, you have to give up something to get something. You have to get better at something. You have to give up something to get
Right.
something.
Right. Right.
So for me, I'm like, it was tough. It was tough watching her going through things. It was tough. She was like, listen, when she was doing her kidney transplant, she said, there's a lot of surgeries.
That's a lot.
With health stuff, but I can smile about it today, but man, when I was going through it, there was a lot of moments where I'm crying in my bathroom. Right? On my knees begging God, don't take my wife. Right.
Jesus.
So when people out here complaining about money wasn't an issue then.
Right.
I would give up everything in my bank account to make sure that I have my wife. My wife said, listen, when she sell everything. She don't care about a house. She don't care about a car. She don't care about no clothes. She just want to live. Right. And some people have never been there.
Right.
So they just be like, oh, you know what? I'm going through financial difficulties. Well, financial difficulties, you can change. That can change, right? That's something that in a sense you can control. When it comes to your health, there's certain things you can't control. If you get diagnosed with cancer, you can't control that. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna jump and leave because that's more difficult than you can't pay your car payment this month. Right? So there's certain things that when I look at, I'm like, when we went through what we're going, when we was going through all that stuff, it was like, man, mentally, there's days when I prepared myself.
Yeah.
Because when I leave the hospital, I didn't know if I was going back to my wife.
Mercy.
There's one specific night where she basically passed out. She looked up and then she just turned around. Yeah, that's the night when she turned around and she like almost turned her head like it was halfway right at her shoulder, but like now she wants to bend it all the way around, like exorcism type of stuff.
Yikes.
And then all of a sudden I start seeing she just start shaking, she start having a seizure, all that stuff. And then she passed out. Bro, I can't do this. I can't. I like God, what, like there's times when I'm saying that I didn't know if I was gonna have a wife.
Yeah.
I was preparing myself as a single father sometimes, and I'm like, God, I can't be a single father. I can't be a single father. Right. And I'm grateful that God answers prayers.
Yes, sir.
Because look at you today, sis.
Nobody can tell me that
sir.
God doesn't answer prayers because our vision board has a picture on it that we put up. And on the vision board, it shows God and it shows the parents on the side, and then it shows a guy in the back, right? And then that guy, if you look at it, there was a moment where we saw the same exact thing. We felt like it was the same exact thing where God,
beautiful,
right there, and me in the back. And I'm like, God, you know what? Like sometimes we forget. And I pray to God there's times where I don't forget. So that's why I wake up and I thank God every day. But people tend to forget how great God is and how God is. Because of God, you have certain things.
That's right.
He can take it away at any moment. So the things that he gives you, the things that I've went through, I'm able to talk to other people about it, strengthen whatever way. But she's used what God given her as what you would call a trial, a challenge in her life. She used as God's way of telling people, become the testimony for God in a sense, and use what she's went through to empower people now.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's what really connected me to Chris, right? I want to put it in words, right?
Yeah.
But I can't. But I know spiritually God pointed me or drew me to you for a purpose, right? And when the Bible says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony, I listened to your testimony and the authenticity behind it, right? But not only the authenticity, the passion behind it, the love behind it. Like you could have been mourning.
Yeah.
but you had a joyful spirit about
Yeah.
coming out of where you came from, right? And then I saw George, and I'm like, this young boy he went through that. What? Yo, this dude
Yeah.
right here is the truth.
He was like, Kat, you've got to hear her story. And I'm still like, who?
Man, listen, I'm telling you, I'm so elated with the fact that
Yeah.
I've heard your story without you telling me your story, right?
Mhm.
Because God has given me a beautiful spirit of discernment. I see things that I need to see and what I don't need to see, right? And
Yes.
at the end of the day, when I think about God's goodness over your life, right? He took George with you through that life.
Yes.
And the thing about it is, you and George have the same level of experience of the
Mm.
passion of Christ.
Yes.
One who was sick and the one who will help heal the sick,
Yeah.
right? Both people losing something, but both people putting in the effort to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Y'all testimony is amazing, man. It's just amazing. If I start a church, I sure like y'all to be the deacon and deaconesses. All right, for real though. Y'all be my deacons or y'all be my youth pastor or something in the line.
Telling
All
you,
right.
you
Okay.
have.
All right. So we are at our time limit. Good Lord,
Yeah.
I want to do this some more, but oh,
Your
okay.
wife want to go out to eat.
Yeah, I
Yo,
know.
I just have one question. We can wrap this up. We talk to a lot of couples out there, a lot of couples. Some couples, they may be going through some trials, tribulation. Some people may be thinking of getting married, younger couples or seasoned couples thinking of getting married. What advice would you tell someone who might be thinking of getting married? Right? They're thinking about it. They want to get it. They set the date. What advice would you give them today?
Or even thinking about divorce.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, divorce is not in my option, so I don't even think about
Okay.
that. But for me, there's a couple of things, right? Just it's basically everything that we spoke about today. Create a plan for your marriage, right? I don't care if it's a 1-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal. Where are you trying to see yourself?
Yeah.
Keep planning, right? Date each other, travel together, laugh, show intimacy,
Mhm.
right? Dress
Yes.
up for your man, do nice things, tap her on the butt, smile, make her feel good, right? Because your words, like he said, is powerful just as well. Don't allow your kids to interfere in your marriage. I had to learn that, right? One thing I had to learn. That was probably the hardest thing for me.
That's a very important one, people.
My
Yeah.
husband was abusive.
Very important.
That one was a little bit.
That's
That was the hard thing. And just try not to go to bed upset. Give yourself 24 hours because everybody needs time to process things, right? Give yourself that 24 hours that you need. But what would you add?
For people that are getting married, right? I would say if you're getting married, make sure you do marriage counseling.
Oh yeah, marriage counseling first.
Okay.
Then you have to make sure, just like you said, make sure you're setting goals. But communication have to be on point.
Yeah.
The communication have to be on point. It's not, if the person is ignoring you now, what do you think is going to happen when you get married? Right. So there's certain things like we're trying to change people, but if you don't see the change, it's like sometimes it's not the change that they need to make. Sometimes it's a change that you need to make.
But you can't change anyone.
Right.
You get that.
Right.
Only so I've noticed that if I want to see a change in my wife, sometimes the change have to happen with me first.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
I like
Right.
that.
So some people feel like, oh, he won't change or she won't change. No, you need to change. And when you change, then that other person will change. And sometimes you will see that change in them, right? Don't call people out their name. That's one thing. Don't call people out their name.
Yes.
No matter what, you have to have respect for your spouse, your significant other. So if you don't have respect, you're not going to have respect for the marriage. You're not going to have respect when it comes to being out there. You're not going to have respect. I'll never disrespect my wife in front of nobody.
Beautiful.
Nobody, nothing at all. I'm not doing it.
Right.
I'll never talk bad about my wife to my parents. Talk bad to my wife talk bad about my wife to anybody out there. Period. Won't do it. I won't talk about finances to anyone out there. I won't share our finances with anybody out there. If I have to suck salt with me and my wife gonna suck salt together.
You know how long I have not heard that?
but
Now I gotta go explain that to Eric.
Yeah, that's I gave you a topic for bedtime.
Right. He's gonna be like, man, what was that song? Something.
So
and can I just real quick? We put God first.
Yes,
that's the biggest thing.
Number one.
Number one. So before you continue, I just want to put that out there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and you know the rule about not you have to communicate, meaning that if you get in an argument, don't go long without talking. It's only gonna make the situation worse. You're now gonna start thinking about something that's really not happening, and you're gonna make the situation worse. So just go ahead and talk.
People always say grass is green on the other side. No, water your grass.
Yeah. Every day.
I like that.
Every day. Put some fertilizer in it or something.
Exactly.
And some weed killer.
Exactly. Watering your grass look like just talk life into that person.
That's right.
Talk life into that person. Let that person know that, listen, you're it for me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I am not going anywhere.
Yeah. Reassurance.
You're sometimes that's what people need.
Yeah.
But people get away from why they got together in the first place.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, when they first get together and you see this beautiful lady walk past, you will say anything.
Right.
Anything, just to get her to go out with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You sweet talker, you do all this stuff, you get her flowers, you do this, you go to the movies, you date, all this stuff, and then bam, it's happened and then you stop doing it.
Yeah.
Why?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why? Right?
Yeah.
When you do that, you're telling the other person that the kid is more important than your marriage. Right? So that's why you have to separate kids and marriage, because kids is gonna cost. I'm telling everybody this right now. That's gonna get married and gonna have kids. Kids are gonna cause some kind of conflict in your relationship. Mm-hmm. Point blank. Period. They will. Be prepared for it, but it's best if you prepare now.
Yeah.
When you have the kid.
Right.
Because when you have the kid, you might not be as prepared and as strong, and you might think as a man, listen, that's my seed, that's my future, and I'm gonna love him more than you, because you know what? I used to think the Caribbean men, right? Most Caribbean men think, listen, that's my seed. No, whatever it is, he's gonna be fine. So even if I leave you, he's still gonna love me, right?
That's the mindset back home. Yeah,
that's not the way to think. The way to think is she comes first. My wife comes first. My kid comes afterwards. He's going to leave anyway.
Yes, sir.
He's going to get home and go have his wife and kids and go through his stuff anyway.
Right.
I'd be happy where I'm at. I'm not going to make my child disrupt that. But at one point they did, right? The kid was the main part of it, because when you both are having kids for the first time, that will happen, but you have to be prepared.
Okay.
Point we wasn't, but thank God we got through it, because we put God first and we talk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But those are just some key things that I'll throw out.
And communication is key, right? I know we getting ready to wrap this up, but communication is definitely key, and we
always say that, and people feel like, oh, they just always say that. It is the truth.
No, it really is.
And don't hide your feelings, because sometimes you're gonna downplay how you feel to not disrupt the other person or ruffle feathers. Say what you gotta say. Get it off. Yes, because it's gonna eat you up.
Men, I'll say this, men. I love my wife for a reason, right? But I express every single thing to her. I don't care how it's gonna, because this is the thing. If I don't tell her how I feel, I'm gonna build resentment against her.
But it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
So
yeah.
Some men
for sure.
They feel like they don't need to express themselves, and that's why I said that earlier. they don't need to express themselves because they're a man and you have to be macho and all
It's a
this
macho
stuff.
thing. Yeah.
But if you don't express yourself and tell her how you feel, then you're gonna build resentment, and the same thing that you hate is gonna keep on happening and happening, and you're gonna try to find something to fix it, or you're gonna say something is wrong. But if they don't know that you hate something, how they're gonna be able to fix it?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Talk.
Absolutely.
So express how you feel. Don't feel like you need to be macho. Don't feel like you need to like express how you feel.
Right.
And just make sure the person is on your level. I'm sorry. It's just too many people just settling just because they get down on one knee and say, "Would you marry me?" It is not like that. You guys find somebody that is in alignment. Make sure they're showing you the signs from before. If you don't like it from now, it ain't gonna change later. You're only supposed to bring out the better in the person. Like, I'm not here to erase everything and start all over with you. No, you got to work on that beforehand, right?
Yes.
So be cautious who you're dating, because who you're dating is who you're eventually going to marry, you know?
Right. And get that FICO score. No, we stop. Get that FICO score.
Hey, I'll say give it, if you're in your early years, right? Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
A lot of people are not willing to make little adjustments, right? Some people are like, "Oh, I'm not gonna." No, you want to find somebody that's willing to bend for you. Both
sacrifice, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is, God said when a man leaves his mother and his father, he cleaves to his wife. He never said cleave to your children.
Right.
He said to your wife. Your wife is your priority. I tell my kids this. Your wife, my boys, your wife is your priority. Women, my ladies, if that man don't make you his priority, you don't need to be in that relationship. I've given you the example of what it looks like. And if it goes below that standard, you need to walk away. There is no exception to the rules. You cannot create a human being or its spirit. God did that.
Yes.
And the only person that can change the way a man thinketh is God, through the word of God, by renewing his mind back to God's original intent of his mind, right? You can't fix him. Let him go. But at the end of the day, like you guys said, if they are in alignment with where you're trying to go, or you see yourself going, right? Grace them. See how long you can go with them. And if they don't measure up, or they seem like they're not in the same, alignment, let it go. It's okay. You will find love again if that's something you're looking for.
Yeah.
So many times I've said I love somebody, right now the record book stopped. So I know what it looks like to tell somebody I love you, only to find out that you don't really love them.
Yeah.
Right? So we know that to come and go. When it comes to communication, I always tell my wife, if I'm never going to lose my voice. I don't care how mad you get at me. I don't care how
and that's
upset
not sexy anyway when a man loses his voice.
I'm not going to shut down because you got attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to hear me until you get it right. Right?
Oh, wait. You said that
until,
you got a little bass there.
Hello, baby.
Look, we might have to edit this speech before we publish. You got a little bass going on. No,
but it is reciprocated. If my wife tells me something is bothering her, it's my responsibility to fix that thing that's bothering her.
Yeah.
I cannot say, well, that's where I come from. That's who I am. No, my whole perception, like, as a man, my whole desire is to please her as a husband.
Yeah.
And if I give, George, to what you said, if I give her that, I'm going to reciprocate what I gave. It's a simple task. But most men would hold on to that whole pride, I'm the alpha. Y'all keep that. I'm about as sensitive as Christ was. You understand me? I know how to cry. Well, not around you, but I know how to cry if I have to. But I know how to be a man that's humble enough to hear God first, and then treat you like God wants me to treat you. Right?
You do great, baby.
Yeah. Oh, you paying for dinner?
I'll pay for dinner.
All right, she paying for dinner, y'all. Let me finish this up. So let me get
It's the same pot.
let me work on dessert right now.
You take too long. I ain't paying for no dinner.
But guys, okay, we don't want to chew up any more of your time. Listen, I definitely want to share numbers with you and us and my son and my daughter in Atlanta, because you two are truly, I do not say this without authenticity behind my heart. I love y'all.
Mhm.
You feel what I'm saying? I
And I'm
love y'all.
so happy to meet y'all because he kept talking
Yes.
about y'all.
I
Lord
love
Jesus. Look, our podcast don't go over an hour. It's an hour and a half.
I was waiting. I was waiting
It
for
was
y'all to
good.
dock when y'all was in where were y'all at?
Grenada?
Grenada. I
Yes.
kept watching y'all to see when y'all were gonna dock, coming back to the States.
Yes. We had a great
All right. Well, listen, guys, we gonna close this session. Trust me, if God allows us to do it again, I would love for us to do it again, just on some general purpose. Let's just get out and hang out and talk, right? All right.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
again, thank you, babe. Anything you want to say?
No, I definitely appreciate you guys saying yes to this because, like I said, he's been talking about you guys, and I was like, I can't wait to meet this couple because he kept talking about y'all. And this was really, this was
Very good.
rich.
Very good. So
Yeah.
I wanna close with you, George, right? Because I've discerned you a man of God, and I discern you got a prayer in your heart. Now, I would like for you just to pray for this session that we just had, and also for those that are in marriage, trying to get in marriage, and you know what I mean, trying to sustain it the best they can. That's okay with you?
That's fine.
Let us go, brother.
Well, Father, thank you for giving us the time to get together and come together and speak about marriage.
Yes, brother.
I thank you for the words that are coming out of every one of our mouths to help the people that are going to watch this podcast.
Yes, oh God.
To let them learn from it, to let them grow from it, and to strengthen their marriage.
Yes, oh God.
God, I ask of you to keep us together.
Yes.
Health. Let us grow together as one when it comes to our marriage. And I thank you for everybody that you put in our place in our life.
Yes.
As I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, we love you, and
love
we
you
will reach
guys.
out to you shortly. Okay.
guys. I appreciate it.
All righty.
All right,
Bye,
guys. We're gonna close out. Let's talk about love, like the good and tough. Through all the ups and downs, we're strong enough. The marriage is work, but it's worth the fight. Let's dive into our life, shining love's light. Two hearts, one road, walking side by side, highs and lows. Got nothing to hide, love's a journey. So we state the facts, making this eternity. Let's talk about love, the good and tough. Through all the ups and downs, we're strong enough. The marriage is work, but it's worth the fight.